New tonight, former President Donald Trump's legal team is asking a federal judge to appoint a third-party attorney known as a special master to ensure the DOJ returns any private or privileged documents that may have been seized during the FBI raid on Mar-a-Lago. Trump's lawyers are asking the judge to press pause on the DOJ's investigation until that special master is put in place. In their court filing, Trump's team asks for 4 specific things: the appointment of a special master, a pause on the government's ability to review the seized documents, a more detailed property receipt of what was taken, and the return of any document that was not within the scope of the search warrant. Trump's lawyers call the raid on the former president's private home unprecedented and unnecessary, and describe Attorney General Merrick Garland's subsequent press conference in which he announced the DOJ would be moving to unseal the search warrant as, quote, deeply troubling. His attorneys arguing the extraordinarily unusual conduct of the DOJ raises fundamental Fourth Amendment concerns arising from the former president's rights against unreasonable search and seizure. His lawyers also say the warrant was overly broad and that FBI agents wanted to, quote, rummage for either politically helpful documents or support other efforts to thwart President Trump from running again, such as the January 6th investigation. Trump's lawyers say the government has long treated the former president unfairly. Trump himself released a statement on the filing tonight, calling the raid illegal and unconstitutional, and saying in part, we are now demanding that the Department of Justice be instructed to immediately stop the review of documents illegally seized from my home. All documents have been previously declassified. We are further demanding that the DOJ be forced to turn over a real, without plans inventory of my property that was taken and disclose where the property is now located. We are demanding that all items wrongfully taken from my home be immediately returned. The filing comes the same day as the federal judge who signed off on the FBI search warrant for Mar-a-Lago formally rejected the Justice Department's request to keep the affidavit that's behind the warrant sealed. Florida Magistrate Judge Bruce Reinhart heard arguments last week from the DOJ and attorneys for a coalition of media companies who challenged the government's demands for total secrecy. He has now formalized his decision to have the DOJ submit a redacted version of the affidavit to him by Thursday, writing that he rejects the government's argument that the present record justifies keeping the entire affidavit under seal. Joining us now are Dave Ehrenberg, state attorney for Palm Beach County, and former federal prosecutor Renato Mariotti. Thank you both for being with us tonight. Gosh, every day more developments with this thing. Today we now hear about a special master. The Trump lawyers want a special master. I want to start with you, Renato. What is that? What does that mean?
So a special master, and you mentioned this a moment ago, is essentially an outside lawyer who's not affiliated with either party, who takes a look at the documents to determine whether or not there's privilege. I mean, what's unusual here is usually that's done in the case of attorney-client privilege. The former president here is asserting that that's necessary here because of executive privilege, which is quite bizarre given that the branch of government that has seized the documents is the executive branch.
Dave, I was in federal court last week, right down the street from your office. And one thing that I was thinking about is I don't think people realize that that entire hearing was the DOJ against the media. There were no Trump attorneys there that spoke. It was the media fighting to have the affidavit unsealed. And so I'm sitting there thinking, well, if the affidavit gets unsealed, that's a good thing for Trump, right? Because then he'll know everything happening behind the scenes with the investigation. So in a way, it almost felt like the media was doing something to benefit Trump.
Well, good evening, Brian. Good to be with you and Renato. Renato, I love your podcast. You can tell, Brian, that Trump did not want this affidavit unsealed. I know he and his supporters have said so on right-wing media, but you know how we know they didn't really want it unsealed? It's because their lawyers didn't ask for it. Their lawyers stayed silent. They let the media do all the work, and they knew that if it gets to be unsealed, it's going to make Trump look bad. It's going to show the evidence and sources against him. And really, it's bad for everyone to have it unsealed because not only will it hurt Trump, it will also hurt the government's case. And by the way, it puts Trump in a predicament because his Sixth Amendment right to a fair trial could be violated. And the Judge Reinhardt, said that it could actually put Trump at risk because then you could have the floor plans on Mar-a-Lago revealed, which could make it harder for the Secret Service to do their job and protect the former president. So it's bad all around, which is why I expect that Judge Reinhardt will either keep it sealed or redact just about all of it so that it's pretty much worthless.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, I was sitting right behind one of the Trump lawyers waiting to see, like, are they going to request to talk? Are they going to have some, voice in all of this? And they were totally silent for the whole hearing. Renato, it's interesting, this new 27-page filing today. The president's lawyers give all sorts of details and a timeline and say that they were cooperating with the FBI for months, going back and forth, giving up documents. And they even say that the former president at one point told the FBI face-to-face, the agents who were there, whatever you need, just let us know. So they paint this picture that there was this dialogue happening. I mean, what are we missing here? We must be missing something, right, Renato?
Well, I think the emotion's missing quite a bit. I mean, I would call it silly or embarrassing. If a young lawyer in my law firm turned that into me, I would not work with that lawyer ever again. It is purely, I'd say, a PR move. I mean, that's a charitable way of putting it. I mean, I just viewed it as nonsensical from a legal perspective. Yes, I mean, if what he said is true and he was fully cooperating, there would have been no search warrant and there would have been nothing recovered, right? If he was fully cooperating, he would have turned all of the classified documents over before the FBI came and seized the documents from his residence. So I have to say that claim, that assertion appears to be false. I think it's demonstrably false. And that is one of the least bizarre things contained in that motion.
Yeah, something must have changed since June, because we know that the FBI was there in June and that they were apparently having some kind of exchange. Something must have changed. I'm sure it's in the affidavit. That's what we don't know. One part of this new filing is the Fourth Amendment. They bring it up over and over again. Dave, do you think that's a fair point, bringing the Fourth Amendment into this?
No, he's not a criminal defendant. Now, the Fourth Amendment will apply eventually if and when he's a criminal defendant, but not before. Plus, the Fourth Amendment protects against unreasonable searches and seizures. Well, this search was signed off by a federal magistrate judge. So by definition, it's not an unreasonable search. So he's got it wrong on both ends. And eventually he'll be able to make the Fourth Amendment argument to try to get evidence suppressed, but after he's indicted, but not before.
And Renato, what do you think is happening behind the scenes with Trump's legal team? Because I saw Christina Bobb at the hearing last week, and then I'm looking at this new filing today, and she's not listed there. I mean, do you think there's something going on behind the scenes with the team?
Well, Ms. Bobb reportedly, according to the New York Times tonight, signed a document attesting to the Justice Department that all of the classified material had been provided to the government, which we know is false because the FBI came and retrieved classified material later on. So she appears to have her own legal problems. She may be a criminal defendant herself. So I would advise her to get her own attorney instead of acting as an attorney in this case. That may be why she wasn't listed. As for the people who signed this, I mean, they should be embarrassed to put their name on this legal document. And I think the former president needs lawyers with higher standards and, frankly, who do a better job.
Just real quick, Dave, we only have 30 seconds left, but on Thursday, the Department of Justice is going to have to turn over this redacted version of the affidavit to the judge. I mean, do you think we're really going to get any good details here, any juicy details, or is it just going to be like a big black redacted blob by the time we finally get our hands on it?
It's going to be that big, ugly blob. There's going to be like 5 to 10 words that are unredacted and they'll be disjointed. It won't make any sense. But that's the way it should be, because prosecutors, as Renato knows, we live by a different set of rules than politicians do. We're not allowed to litigate our cases in the press. It protects not only investigations, but criminal defendants as well.
You know, us in the media, we want it so bad, but it does make sense. Obviously, they can't give everything up during an ongoing investigation. Dave Ehrenberg and Renato Mariotti, thank you both for coming on tonight. We appreciate it.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.